Hi folks, hope you're doing well. It's 7:45 on the 1st of August 2020. Well, this is a difficult subject. It's one I've spoken about briefly before. But just looked on YouTube, a video came up that I thought, I'll have a look. Let's see what this is. It's David Choe remembers the death of Anthony Bourdain. Anthony Bourdain was a celebrity chef, author, journalist, travel documentator, that sort of stuff. Lived in New York. And according to David Choe, was a people pleaser. Did whatever he could to be there for people when they needed help, and whatever he could do to help people, he would do. But David Choe then goes on to say that, he's quite angry with Anthony Bourdain at this moment because he says, "You're a murderer. You pretended to be this lovely person, but you're a murderer. The one person you should have helped was yourself. And instead you killed yourself." He hung himself. The amount of suicides is ridiculous. But David Choe goes on to explain that whenever he meets anyone who's famous, a sports personality or whatever, one of the first questions he asks them is, "How long can you be happy for?" Because the reality is that in that sort of area of celebrity, your last achievement was only achievement for a few minutes. Then you moved on to your next thing, whatever that next thing was. Whether it's the next season, the next event, the next training for the next fight, whatever. So you were able to celebrate for a very, very short time. And then suddenly you had to focus again and put in all the hard work again. It's like when you look at ex-football players, Premier League and that sort of stuff. Certainly the players who have been incredibly successful and won things. Look at them when they finish playing football. They're nowhere near the same person. Nowhere near. There's a light inside them that's gone. And they themselves always say they wish they could get back to it. They wish they could play still. Playing was it, being part of a team, and a successful team. Winning stuff, having the fans adore you, scoring that goal. Incredible. So like for a chef, making that meal that everyone goes, wow, that was incredible. That in itself is a thing, and that's what people live for. And when you're not getting that anymore, or when you're in a struggle to get that, depression can easily come in. But the point of it is that the way it works is quite simple. You, as a young person, you have a talent, a degree of talent. So, you are living in a world that's run by the devil. The devil will make a deal with you, even though you're not even aware of this deal. He will give you success. He may even give you immense success. But after that, he will take everything from you. all that joy, all that you had during those years of success, he will take from you. Because he gave it all to you. So he's going to take it all now. And you go into a tailspin of depression that can easily lead to taking an overdose or jumping off a bridge, jumping off a chair with a rope around your neck. So easy. That's the reality, you see. And if you're a people pleaser, stop being a people pleaser. Well, as I said, first of all, from a Christian point of view, you can't be a people pleaser and a God pleaser. You just can't do it. You can please one or the other. But also, if you're a people pleaser, your life is really dependent upon that, and that is a tough life to try and live. Because you're constantly having to run around after people. Constantly. In order to be that people pleaser, you're having to constantly be there at people's beck and call. When they have a slight problem, you run. Which gives you no time for you. And not only that, constantly, if you're a people pleaser that is there for people in times of trouble, all you see in life is times of trouble. So no wonder depression comes in. When all you see is times of struggle, when people you know and love and care for are struggling all the time and they're being defeated by life. If that's what you see on a regular basis, no wonder you're tempted to kill yourself. But don't for a second think that that's the end of it. You see, if God exists, then the devil exists. If the devil gave you all of that power and then took it away to encourage you to do what you did in killing yourself, that means that he exists, which means that heaven and hell exists. If you kill yourself, then you're guilty of murder. But you're guilty of murder, and if you were successful, and it was a very quick suicide, I mean, tablets can be a bit slower. So you do have a chance to repent, and even some other forms of suicide. I'm not going to go into them, but some other forms can be slower, so you've got time to repent. Others can be very, very quick. But if you don't repent before you actually die, then you've sinned. And you haven't repented of that sin. Therefore, you spend your eternity in hell. And if you think that your life on earth was tough, you haven't got a clue. You really and truthfully have not got a clue. So folks, please, if you are struggling, find someone to talk to. Make sure that you have friends that you can actually talk to. All these people that you think, oh, I've got all these followers on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, they're my friends. No, they're not. They're not. Not in any way, shape or form. Your friends are the people that are there for you through thick and thin. Really there for you. Your friends are the people who, when they ask, are you okay? And you answer honestly, stay and listen. And listen properly. And ask other questions from that. Anyone who you tell your story to and says, okay, all right, okay, well, I've got to go now. All right, bye-bye. That person is not a friend. If you open your heart to someone and that's how they respond, that person is not a friend. Yeah, we all need people that we can go to when things are tough. Do I have anyone? No, I have God. I go to God. I shout and scream at God. I whinge and moan. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, on my walk around the park at night, that's when often I deal with it. I'll be speaking to God about everything then. And I give him a hard time. Oh, yeah. See, that's why I know that I will never try to kill myself. That's why I know that. Well, not from now on. Because anything goes wrong, I blame God. Simple. I do. And then God helps me to realize that it's not as simple as that. That, you know, there are reasons why things happen. Yeah. And then when you have that sort of interesting dialogue, well, then, okay, God is caring enough about me that he bothers to try and explain the situation to me. If indeed it is God replying. But of course, that's something that you test and time will tell, really. Yeah. As I said before, there are voices that you hear. One of them is God. But David Choe also himself has said that I will link that video. The video of David Choe remembers the death of his friend. He gets very emotional, but he himself says that even he has done the sort of ask for help, but really only a little ask, not a proper ask. And the thing is, when people do a little ask, even if you are a true friend of that person, there's not a lot you can do, really. Because he said that when Anthony Bourdain phoned him up and asked him for help, he was absolutely delighted at that his friend, who he knew was struggling, had finally asked him for help. But it was one of these sort of little asks, not a proper ask. He wasn't willing to go the distance. 28th of June 2018, Anthony Bourdain killed himself. That's it, folks, isn't it? In the end, yeah. As I said, it's also about the fact of decisions that we make that can lead to things. I'd imagine that Mr. Bourdain made decisions that led to his ultimate decision. And he didn't realise when he made those decisions that they were leading to that. But they were. That's why, if at all possible, if you have friends or if you're married, then certainly if you're married with your partner, do a regular MOT of your relationship, of your marriage, of your own selves. Help each other with that MOT. Look at the decisions you've been making and the paths that you're going down. Seek God and guidance on those things so you can try and avoid nasty crashes. Because by all accounts, Anthony Bourdain was a lovely man. A very, very lovely, caring, considerate, sweet man. But he made some bad decisions in his life. And those decisions led to him ending his life in the way he did. So, I mean, talking about suicide and not being the last thing, there was a story I heard. With all these stories, you have to wonder whether they are true, but it sounded like a lovely story, so I'll just share it. There was a bloke that was having a hard life. He wasn't doing well at all. He was on a train, so He wasn't on a train. He was going to jump in front of a train. Something like that. Or he was on a train, but he was going to jump in front of another train. Something like that. Or jump in front of his own train. Exactly. Long time since I heard it. Well, he was preparing himself to do this, and then he heard a little voice. The little voice just asked him, "Do you think this will end all your suffering?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "It needs to end." He said, "I can't cope." And the voice said, "You won't be ending your suffering. You kill yourself, you go to hell, and you suffer for eternity." Once the man understood this, he decided not to go ahead with it. As I say, that was supposedly the man himself told the story. But, yeah, whether it's an old wives' tale or a proper story, I don't know. These are the things with these, aren't they? I mean, there are many, many stories on YouTube. Just want stories of people, close deaths, and that sort of thing. There are plenty of videos of that sort of thing. But suicide is also a sin because of the fact that the damage you leave behind. Anthony Bourdain, had he have known the pain he would cause to his friends in making the decisions he would made, would he have still made that decision? It's quite likely he wouldn't. Quite likely he would not have made that decision based upon the fact he was a people pleaser. To commit suicide, you're thinking purely about this is the best thing for you. You're not thinking about the ones you leave behind and how they are going to deal with this or not cope with it at all. Because that's the thing. Yeah. David Choe remembers from his own perspective that if he had just been able to do more to help Mr. Bourdain, then Mr. Bourdain would not be dead now, quite likely. Quite possibly he wouldn't have been dead. If they had just helped him enough, if he had just grabbed him by the shoulders and shook him until he woke him up to the reality of the danger of where he was in his life, then maybe he would still be alive. And that's the reality for family members and friends of people that kill themselves. There's always going to be someone who thinks, well, what if I could have just done this or that or been a bit earlier? Could I have stopped this from happening? Would this person still be alive? You see on the photos now, on the background, the photos, you see the birds. Now, if we care about each of those birds, that they get to live their life to the fullest extent, why would we not care for each human being to get to live their life at their fullest extent? God cares far more about you than he does about those birds. That's what you read in the Bible. That's what Yeshua said. You are worth more to God than many birds. Well, there you go. Photo of many birds. There's 6 birds there. That's many. Now, it's not necessarily the many that Yeshua was speaking about. Maybe 25, maybe 35, maybe 135 birds. You're worth more than. You just need to recognize that yourself. You just need to recognize yourself that you are worth more than them. Now, if you care for those birdies, or if birdies aren't that, If you'd care for a cat or you'd care for a dog, you've got to start caring for yourself. Because like with me, I mean, I have my dogs, and I know that I have to really be careful with what I do, because the consequences of anything I do could have a massive impact on my dogs, on their quality of life, on the fact that they might get split up. If anything happens to me, what's going to happen to them? If I get into a conflict with someone, or if I'm reckless while driving, what's going to happen to these? If I'm not there for them, they're reliant upon me. Mr. Bourdain and people in the position that Mr. Bourdain was in the months before he died, there were people who are reliant upon you. There are people who will be devastated if you're not here anymore. So look at it from that way. Please try and look at it from that way. Try and find something good in your life that's worth living for. Whatever that good may be. Hold on. And go to wherever you need to go to get help. Wherever you need to go to. You take care. God bless. And I will speak to you soon. Bye-bye.